What's up, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Chromecast. My name is Joe, joined here today by Robbie.
What's up, guys?
And Gabriel.
Hello.
And last week was a long episode.
It's like an episode and a half.
One of our longest.
I'm looking at Joe's book, and there's one word, 5 letters, and I'm like, it could be a really short episode.
Okay, there's other stuff in here. I was like, do you even write in this?
Yeah,
Okay.
But at the same time,
I used to a lot.
Now that we have a Pixel line, it could actually be a really long podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I was doing
That's
here.
it.
We went to. This is what I wrote down.
There's some
not even
doodles
what-
on the other side.
That's not even like,
Oh,
that's a
oh.
little part of what we're going to talk about.
That's a little sneak peek of something we're working on.
Oh, yeah.
Little
Also-
sneak peek of something we're working on.
Also, I'm here.
Oh, and Andy Cam.
Done.
Love
no,
you.
No, he
Love
forgot.
you.
He forgot. No. This
Love
is going
you.
down as a
Too
forget.
late.
Well, if we're keeping score
Market
of
3 in a
the
row,
past,
4 in a
please.
row.
of the
Hold
past
on.
4 weeks,
Hey, I thought Andy had
3
it.
times forgotten.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
Is that right? Because there was the original,
Yes.
and then there was the second that was the big deal,
Yes.
and then the third time it was we made the whole thing
Intentional,
with
yeah.
Yeah.
the whole deal. Okay, so yeah, it's 3 out of 4. Ain't bad.
I completely
mean-
forgot to watch that. I feel horrible now.
The
Yeah.
disappearing Andy
I just
cam?
got the notification earlier while you were the YouTube notification.
Yeah.
I got it today.
dude the
sometimes.
disappearing Andy was great.
That was
it
fun.
was some high quality work.
He was.
It was high quality work. Yeah, I have no excuse for
I mean,
this
really,
one. I just
high quality work is all we've been doing lately.
pretty
Yeah,
much,
it's
that
true.
one thing coming up.
pretty much. The little sneak peek there.
Yeah.
We've got something we're working on,
I
and
do have to
Open
keep
up
it in the
our
back
sleeves.
pocket anytime I'm just not feeling Andrew. I'm just
yeah, just hey,
I
Don't
will
make me
I-
clap.
watch it. Don't make me evaporate you.
I'm gonna keep them sheathed.
Yeah.
For now.
Keep my disappearing weapons down here.
All right. I'm good. We good?
Love where this
We're
is
good.
going.
We're
Okay.
Sorry, I have no excuse for this one. My bad, brother. I definitely.
Here's-
I 100%.
I'll take the blame. I threw out the Pixel thing on that.
Exactly.
It was that, and we're podcasting in a different day.
We're podcasting on Wednesday. Everything's
But it
Which
your-
is also Joe's
that's your
fault.
fault though, because you're leaving.
chickens' heads are falling off.
I typically
So
don't
it's
exist
also his
on
fault.
Wednesday, so yeah, I
Right.
get that.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
Andrew's
true.
just
It's all
not around.
it's all weird, you know. Everything's
Yep.
all messed up. Yeah, that's true. I am going to be gone the rest of the week, so we had to move some things around. So we're just talking. We're doing our news roundup on a Wednesday, so
Yeah.
you know we're going to talk about some stuff. We got some good stuff.
We've had a lot of news already.
Oh,
this
yeah,
week,
100%.
so it's good.
Yeah, what'll happen?
Well,
Those like big stuff will break tomorrow. And
Oh
Friday.
yeah,
What do we
yeah.
have? 2?
We'll
It
just
just happened.
3 products this week already. Yeah.
we'll do a special episode next week if we have to.
Well, like you said, the last week was like an episode and a half. So
Yeah, we had to kind of work through all, and we didn't even talk through any of the software. Well, we talked through
kinda.
2 software things, kind of.
Yeah.
But there was so much else that we could have
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about. If we had to fill in today, we could do so with some
of
I/O
the-
news
some of the
from
I/O
last
stuff.
week.
But I feel like people might be on the cusp of just like, oh, okay.
All right, we
I'm
get it.
IO'd out.
Yeah, let's.
There
I
was-
got an email today that is Google I/O extended. I guess it's like long term stuff, and I'm like, I didn't even open it. 'cause
Oh,
I
yeah, I
will
saw that
open
too,
it, but
yeah.
I'm like, I can't right now.
Not,
I did
not
claim.
now.
Did you get your free domain? I did claim that.
No.
Yeah. That anyone that signed registered for, they gave out a coupon for a free .dev or .page domain. So
Yeah.
There you go.
I should register.
Yeah, probably.
Robbie.page.
I tried to get Larry.page, but it was already
Oh,
taken.
that would have been good.
How about Jimmy?
Ooh, yeah. There you go.
Picture page.
Picture page.
Hey, register
So
something
many
that you
options.
might be able to sell later.
Yeah, for real.
It's like real estate.
Totally.
Oh,
But definitely, if you missed last week's episode, it was a good one. We talked through all of the hardware announcements.
Yeah.
Because I/O was surprisingly a
the hardware.
hardware event.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally missed that.
Yeah, I
The
mean, we-
few days before I was like, look, guys, let's not. It's every year we do this, and they're going to announce XYZ at I/O.
And they never do.
They never do. So like, let's calm it down. Like, maybe we'll see the Pixel 6a.
Yeah.
And then they're like, next we're going to have the hardware team come out, and I was like, yep.
Uh-oh.
I'm reading through Robbie's article like,
updated.
wrong. Nope.
Like, strike through. X.
So
wrong.
I did my article like most likely to least likely. The least likely thing I put on there was the Pixel Buds Pro, and it's one of the two things that's going to launch soonest.
Yep.
So yeah, I was
They were like,
not
oh,
even close. I was
not
even
only
close.
here's the Pixel Buds, they're coming out.
Yeah, they're going to be out in a month and a
Same
half.
week as the Pixel. There you go.
Yeah, so it was a fun episode. We had a lot of fun and kind of did the best recap we could of all of the hardware. And there's all sorts of other stuff from I/O. We kind of focus on the hardware for our coverage for the most part. If you go to the website,
Right.
I'm sorry for the podcast portion, we just focus on the hardware.
and
But
the
on the
video
website,
stuff
you
that
can
we
go
did.
check out all of our coverage and kind of get a rundown of some of the other cool stuff that was launched.
Yeah, there were some updates to YouTube. There was some really cool stuff with Google Maps.
Oh, yeah.
The immersive
They showed
maps.
yeah,
and all
these
that, yeah.
really high def views of like downtowns of large cities and these
That demo they did was
and where they have like the
so cool.
drone looking fly through of indoor places, so like restaurants and stuff. It like looks like a drone. Just
I
kinda
didn't
swooping
catch
through.
how that happens.
It's the the indoor. We did it with HCC.
The 360 photo.
Yeah, where you
yeah.
have to capture it the right way to upload it and let their thing render it in 3D or not 3D but in a spatial layout.
Yeah.
I think it's just that. Maybe it's that plus something else. But then the way they're animating your ability to it looks like you're flying a little drone through the restaurant. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean the way they take what is it, Unreal and all those, the way that they take 5 snapshots of a human and generate I would bet that they can take existing indoor stuff and their
Probably.
AI
Probably.
it just based on this we'll generate that from this angle it looks like that, so we'll just generate this up and down motion like it's flying. I mean Google's AI is insane.
Yeah.
And then all their language models and stuff they talked about, and
Palm.
continue to show that stuff that clearly we talked about some of that stuff in relation to the AR glasses, but
There was a
it's
lot.
wild.
There was a lot.
Yeah, it's wild.
And that was honestly, I mean, just the keynote itself was just packed full of stuff. And then there's all the other sessions and everything else
was
going
probably
on.
only, I would say, I don't know, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes in the middle, like right in the center. They got into security and privacy. And it's like, I get it. They got to cover that stuff to basically say, like, look, we're doing our best to detach ourselves from your personal data. Like, Google isn't very aware when it sees user 123 went to this place, viewed this stuff on the internet, and all like you're still anonymous to Google. Like, it doesn't know that that's you. But they have to continue to remind people of this because people are like, oh, they're spying on me. They got all my data. And we've said it on this podcast 100 times. Google probably doesn't really care much about the ongoing things in your daily life. You're not that important to them, unfortunately. And so
I think
they don't
part
care
of
that
it
I'm
is
having an aha.
Yeah,
They do
they
not.
might.
They care that
aha cares that you're having an aha.
they care
but-
that a person
a person.
in your demographic.
Yeah, I think with the volatility of the world and government powers and all that stuff, Google and all these other major tech companies are going to continue to keep, on the forefront. Hey, you are, like Robbie said, you're disconnected from your data. You are a person. You are not you with this data, because that's one of the big issues that people worry about is just, well, my data is going to get into the wrong hands, or my data is going to be used against me. And that Google's like, we don't care about that. We want to sell ads and you buy products and we make money. That's what they care about.
And try to serve you the best ads possible. And I think the ad manager stuff was cool too. Being able to go in and have a little bit more control over the type of advertising that you see, I think is always a good thing,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, anytime we can get more catered ads. I mean, crap, I've bought several things from Google Ads. I have a pair of workout pants, Vury workout. Vury, I don't know how to say it. Probably saying it so wrong. Sorry for that. If there's somebody from that company's listening, which I don't know why they would be, but you never know.
You never know.
But yeah, some cool stuff from I/O. Definitely go check out the website. We'll just maybe link our I/O category, and they can just peruse if you are interested.
Yeah, because there was a bunch.
Yeah, there's a lot. But the 6A was made official and is coming soon. And we have a little bit of some news around that, some updates, a couple things we've learned since then.
Yeah, just little stuff.
Yeah. So let's hop into that.
Gosh, what? I just went blank. I'm so I'm thinking of
6A?
Pixel Buds. Yeah,
6A what?
6A.
The phone?
So the
Mid-range?
availability, which I didn't
countries.
realize.
Availability,
yeah, I went
countries,
back
yeah.
and looked. It was in the original press kit. I don't know why I didn't. I'm not sure if I put it in mine or not, but it came out like a couple of days later, the availability, and I'm like, why did I not cover this? But yeah, because initially they were saying it was probably going to be a limited release, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's
and that could
13?
have been one of the leaks or something like that.
Yeah.
There's
But-
13 countries. I
Yeah,
think?
so the same 13. Or it's either 13 with India or 13 plus India. I don't remember now.
Check it out,
but
Andy
it's,
Cam.
I think it's
13 with.
okay.
13
so it's
with.
the same 12 countries then that the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro went to.
Yeah.
With the addition of India, and
Which
India's a massive
huge.
market. Yeah, I mean, like especially for affordable phones. Like if you do any research at all, you realize like brands like Oppo and Vivo and OnePlus made a huge move a couple phones back to make sure that they're. I think the Nord, the first
the Nord was the big
like the
overseas
target
launch.
was India because in that particular market, like mid-range phones do really really well. The high-end phones. Not as much,
Yeah.
And so the mid-range phones really are the goal, and obviously the population in India is massive, and so it's a big market to sell phones. The Pixel 6a is a good phone to get for Google to get into that market, and so it's a good thing that they're expanding into that market for this particular phone. Like they should have probably done it with the 5a, but the 5a came out in U.S. and Japan,
Yeah.
and that is it. So
Yeah.
at least it's kind of like, hey, we're back to business as usual as far as production lines go. Because if you compare this availability with Samsung, for instance, it's going to pale in comparison. You know,
Yeah,
it's
of
not
course,
anywhere.
yeah.
I have no idea how many countries Samsung ships to, but it's a bunch.
there's no telling.
Andy Cam.
Yeah,
Let's just see.
All of
yeah,
them.
I wonder.
a bunch. I'm
I bet
sure,
it's
but
a lot.
for Google, who's always been on the edge of like, your stuff really needs to go to more countries. And then the 5A came out in 2 countries. To see the 6A come out and not just get back to those countries, but get into India is a pretty big deal. So excited to see that.
Yeah,
be the case.
and hopefully, obviously we don't want to jump the gun here, but hopefully, I mean, obviously, if they're announcing that it's going to be in these markets and especially adding India, hopefully they're getting some production stuff kind of lined out. And
Yeah, I would hope so.
By this point, they're hopefully getting enough chips and everything they need to put these phones together to be able to supply
Right.
these countries. I would hate for them to say, oh yeah, hey, we're doing it in 13 countries, and then it sells out. And
Right, they don't have it. It's
Yeah.
always, yeah. Hopefully that is not the case. I would think Google has weathered enough bad press about like limited availability
Yeah.
to be smart enough not to jump that until they realize like, we got enough.
Especially
pieces
if you
of parts.
announce a new market, it's
Right.
like, man, that would be no good.
Yeah, and if it sells out, that's fine, but sell out within a reasonable period of
Sure.
time. Like it shouldn't sell out in day one.
Yeah, which
I
we've
don't-
seen,
I don't think-
we've
I mean-
seen that in the past where they've come out and it kind of almost felt like they weren't prepared, and it's like,
Oh, yeah.
48 hours later, the Google store, you can't buy the phone that you want.
Like it's sold out. Well, I mean, we only had 100, but
Yeah.
yes, it's sold out. Like, don't do that artificial crap.
not
Like,
the
Yeah.
same.
Hopefully that's
Super
not,
popular, sold
Yeah.
out in 24 hours.
I mean,
We had-
it doesn't matter.
We
It's
had
sold
2,000 units. Did you find anything over there, Andy Cam?
74 countries.
Jeez
There you go.
Louise.
So just
So
a
half
handful.
the world.
Just a couple
Something
more.
Like that.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. We'll do the math. It's like what, seven more?
40%.
Yeah.
A few more.
Yeah, just
About.
70.
7 is, yeah, just a
Well, it's
couple.
like 60. So that puts it, what did you say, 70? How many?
74.
Yeah,
61.
That's a solid 60 plus.
Jeez Louise. That's a lot. So what other 6A news do we have?
I think that was it on the 6A.
Okay.
There's no other.
Thought you said there were 2
The
things.
new fingerprint scanner.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. You're right. See, I don't have my device in front of me. I'm
Yeah.
detached
We
from
got
my
it.
electronics.
We should
I'm,
take notes.
I'm without, like, it's just too much stuff bouncing around. But yeah, they're going to use, they told Android Central.
Yeah, which
apparently.
is weird.
Um,
But hey, cool.
Maybe they reached out and asked, and they hadn't thought to say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they did confirm they're using a different fingerprint scanner for the 6A. Than
Thank
on the
you.
I didn't say better. Just
yeah,
said different.
yeah. Oh yeah. Let's knock on wood here.
Right.
I mean,
that's
Hope
that's
it's
all
lateral
they said.
at least.
Yeah.
But
At
please
minimum,
please be better.
just lateral.
Yeah.
Please be a little better though.
I think with the backlash that they've had with the fingerprint scanner in these phones.
I think they're probably
I don't know
investing
why,
a little more in it.
Right. If you're going to make a move, don't move worse,
Yeah.
obviously. So hopefully it's a little bit better. Under display fingerprint scanners, especially optical ones like this or like we get on OnePlus or whatever, are always going to have a little bit of latency to them. Just the technology is just what it is. Like the only one under screen I've used that was as good as a normal capacitive is the Galaxy S22. But it's ultrasonic. It's in its third iteration, I think.
Yeah.
It's just good. It's really good. I'm sure it's not cheap, and I don't know if anybody else is doing ultrasonic fingerprints other than Samsung.
No,
So
not on a regular basis. I don't think so.
yeah. So I mean, it's. But again, if you can't make it work right, like put it on the power button,
Or
put
just
it
go
back.
back.
There.
Go back to the
Put
one
your
in the
Qi
back.
logo right there in it.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with
Pow.
that.
Yeah. Or give me face unlock. That would also be good.
Well, you know.
Not the. I
We're
don't have to
gonna-
have the super duper secure 3D face modeling unlock, just like what OnePlus does and what
regular
Samsung
stuff.
does. Like,
Yeah.
just unlock my phone. It doesn't have to be the most secure thing in the world.
I got used to it with the 4XL. I'm not gonna lie. After using it for a little while,
And again, the
sometimes
4XL
driving in my vehicle was a little weird.
right, and so it would have benefited from having both.
Yeah.
So that's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Throw both of them on there.
I mean, let's not ask too much, okay? Let's just get the chip lined out.
I'm not saying like the 4A or 4XL style. I'm talking about use the camera.
Yeah.
They're good enough. Like I tried really hard to fool that OnePlus 10 I was testing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna see.
They're
So I
still-
pulled up photos. I made the photo head on my screen the same size it was in frame, and I'm like, and then I put a video of me. I took a video of myself, put the video on the screen, pointed it at it, and it's not just movement. Like it's able to discern whether it's looking at a three-dimensional thing or not.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
with the cameras are good enough, and machine learning's good enough that it's hard to fool. And I'm not saying you should put your bank account behind that, but the basic unlocking of your phone,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And then force me to use biometrics when I log into my bank
Sure.
account or whatever. You know?
Sure.
And that's
I would be
fine.
fine with that. Yeah. I'm excited to see how the 6L or 6L.
Old 6L.
6XL.
New-
I was going to go, I don't
That's
know
not a
what
thing
of it.
either.
When they
6L.
announced that.
We're going with 6L is actually this is
Prototype.
another it's a it's a phone they're releasing only for certain people.
Pixel 6 later.
Yeah, no, it's just a super long. It's like a Snickers bar.
Oh Lord.
Takes
like-
candy bar. Like you can hold it just like this.
Yeah. Well,
Very
like for
thin.
people like me that have small hands, like you just gotta.
And then you'd like the Galaxy Fold. That's what it
Yeah,
felt like.
There you go.
Right.
Got 3 Musketeers.
I'm excited to see how the 6A sells.
There you go.
And I think that, and we mentioned this a little bit last week, but for those that didn't listen to that episode, you know, it's getting the Tensor chip. And so
Yep.
the more people that buy this, the more people that use it for games, you know, we always talk about games and,
Yeah,
you know,
app-
developers.
just general app
but apps in
compatibility.
general,
Yeah.
you know, when you have such a small, you know, subset of people using a certain chip, it's hard to devote too many resources towards making that app better for that chip, right?
Right.
And this 6A could be that device that really gets Tensor out there
I think so. Yeah.
and, you know, gets developers thinking, oh, okay, maybe it's time we
just need to
spend
make
some
sure.
time.
And it's not like it's that wildly different than other ARM chips that are out there. It's not like you look at its cores versus the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1.
Yeah.
Like, they're pretty close to the same. Like this one has 2 big cores and 1 less of the medium-sized cores, I think, or something. But it's not. They're not different Cortex. You know, they're all Cortex A whatevers.
Yeah.
They're all the same type of cores. And so, yeah, there's going to be small differences, and maybe I think ultimately it's probably less about we got to optimize our game for Tensor. It's more about tell your game that Tensor's cool to go ahead and do
Right.
all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, let
It's
it
fine.
let it run,
Let it
yeah.
rip. Like let it open up and go.
Yeah.
Because that's what we see a lot of times. Is most of these games are written and it's looking for a certain chip, and if you don't have that chip, it either
It's just gated.
yeah, it just won't install, or it's not going to run the GPU. Like, and I reference PUBG all the time, but it's a clear example of a game that has tens of millions of downloads and users that clearly does this. Like, and you'll see it. You'll see a MediaTek chip that at first all the options are the lowest possible graphic settings, and then in an update, now I've got like almost all the highest ones, and it runs just fine. The chip didn't change. You didn't rewrite the
Yeah.
software.
Right.
You just said, "Oh, this chip, this is okay." Flip the thing.
Right.
If is this chip, it's okay.
Yeah.
Let it
They don't want-
access the GPU.
They don't want people having a bad experience in their app.
Right. So if the chip is unknown, just keep them on the lowest possible thing. That's the safest bet. And so
Maybe the Pixel tablet will change everything.
The Pixel tablet's gonna come out and change the world
of
Pixel
Of
tablets.
Pixel tablets.
No, it's not. Pixel C did that.
Pixel Slate didn't.
We need to get Flex on a Pixel C is what we need to do.
That would be fun.
Yeah. I don't
That
think
would be
it can
fun.
be done, but it's a Tegra chip.
Yeah, Tegra X. Yeah, Tegra X1, I think.
I was wondering if once this Pixel tablet news came out, if there would be some more articles of people digging up stuff or I haven't seen anything.
No, not yet.
I think everyone is probably just oh, that's weird. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, because we all written off Google tablets.
They said they weren't doing it.
We're out. We are out of this, and now it's now we're back. So, okay. I don't know.
It's just weird. If they came out swinging with an ultra premium tablet, I can understand, but this does not look like that at all. It looks like a kid's tablet.
Yeah, and who knows? I think by the time it comes out, things could change quite a bit.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
They really need to decrease the bezels around that thing.
I stand by my Nest theory.
Yeah.
At
I think
68% solid.
I still think that could be where they're headed with it. Again, the Pixel tablet doesn't have to be a Nest product. The hub that you put it on could be the Nest
and that's
product.
the thing is one of our patrons, he's like, it didn't really make sense for it to be a Pixel. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but I cannot look at this thing and think that Google doesn't have some kind of plan to make this a smart home device.
And I might have said this last week, but when I was showing my kids the wrap up video, and when that tablet came up, my wife immediately said, "Oh, is that like a new Nest Hub thing?"
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
I mean, somebody who is not really plugged into tech stuff saw that immediately.
And we already have rumors of a detachable Nest Hub, so to me it just makes sense. And maybe it's
and
just
the
a
pogo
gut
pens on the back
Yeah,
are
the
in
pogo
a
pens
weird
on the
position.
center.
and they were very prominently shown.
Yeah.
It's not like
They
hid
made
them.
sure in one of the reveals.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't imagine having a folio keyboard that had the pogo pen connected
Way up the back.
It's going to move and all. If it seats in a folio keyboard case, the pogo pens will be on the side.
Yeah.
This thing is going to dock on something. Mark my word. I bet that plant.
No, don't
Paul.
don't bet Paul the Plantibus.
This is a good enough bet, and I think we'll have two Pauls.
Paul's
if
looking
somebody takes
great,
him up
by
on
the
it.
way.
Paul
Andrew.
is Andy Cam.
Thank you.
Paul is looking fantastic.
100%.
He's become a new character in the show. I mean, he's looking so good.
Sickly hydrangea at my house. I need some help with.
Just bring it over.
We'll figure it out.
Hey,
Alright,
bring
Put
it
on
over.
Andrew's desk.
There you go.
The other
It'll
nice
come to
thing
life.
is Paul the Platypus is remembered by Joe. Something
Yes.
I can't always say.
Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and I would say, hey, he's in eyeshot, but if he looks at that plant, you look right at Andrew,
Agree.
so that doesn't work.
He's
See right through
basically
you.
he's invisible to me, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at this plant and I'm like, Andrew, who?
He's
What
not
are you
here.
talking about?
Who?
Who's Andrew?
We're running this thing.
Who's recording? I am. I did it.
Oh, I like what you did there. Oh, yeah. No, I did it.
Andrew, we'll do a
did
special
this.
podcast while Joe's gone, and you can
Can-
sit over here. And
Can
Sit
we?
here.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you all should. That would be amazing.
We'll find some sort of dummy to put over there and put a hat on it and be like,
Just-
Joe.
Joe's
Print
behind
out-
the Mac
print out
today.
Just do some do the photo of me with my mustache and,
Yes.
and print it over there.
just hang it.
I like
Just
it.
like printed poorly on like the printer's running out
Crumple
of
the paper
ink.
a little
yeah,
bit.
the printer's running out of ink a little bit. Oh boy. All right.
Ooh, we can
wow.
attach it to the ladder.
Yeah.
That's what I was
perfect.
thinking. That's
Ladder.
was my thought. Is we tape
I'm
it to something. I've got my styrofoam head in there. We
Hey,
put
just
it on
know,
the
just-
ladder
just
and tape that to the
One
head.
of the
Wrap
old
it
Wrap it
around
around.
and put some tape around
one of the
it.
old golf clubs. I look like a skinny little golf club.
Get
so
a-
just
get a
prop
truck-
a
truck
golf
We could
cap
attach the
put
golf
on top
clubs
of
like
it.
arms.
Wow. Okay.
All right, we've
Wait.
set the expectation,
All right.
Andrew. We got
Well,
some work to do.
You all better get to work. I'm only gone 2 days, so y'all are gonna have to.
We have the weekend.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
You all are gonna be
Yeah, 4
grinding.
days.
You all are gonna be grinding all weekend getting this ready.
Get in Monday. We're all so tired.
Yeah.
We all so
I'm like,
tired
what do you
for-
want? What's
Oh,
wrong?
this
Nothing.
thing is 20
You're like,
minutes.
check the podcast
Yeah.
feed.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break for an ad, and we will be right back. Today's episode of the Chromecast is brought to you by Visor. Do you manage your school district's Chromebook one-to-one program? If you're tasked with getting hundreds or thousands of Chromebooks ready for students this summer, you'll want to listen to this. Visor is a Chromebook and IT asset management solution designed specifically for school districts. Visor seamlessly integrates with the Google Admin Console and your student information system, including PowerSchool. With Visor, you can easily see which student has which Chromebook, manage repairs, and even automate disabling lost or stolen devices while notifying parents, all in one click. To find out more and to lock in a 20% discount, go to visor.cloud/unboxed. That's VIZOR.cloud/unboxed, or just click the link in the show notes. Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. So one thing that I forgot to throw up front as we were talking about, So we started recording our second half.
Let's just be honest.
I'm not going to try to hide it.
We messed up, okay?
I'm not going to try to hide it because then I'll just end up messing it up more. It's okay. It happens sometimes. You know, the stupid cycle area thing in GarageBand. Well, it was my fault.
I was going to say, based on the first half of this, you said you were doing all this.
Yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, for sure.
It is your fault.
Okay. It's my fault. I was exporting.
Andrew's way of getting back at you.
It is, yeah. This is all. This is
retribution.
It's all coming back around.
It's okay.
Dang it.
It's okay.
We were recording and it was looping a little section. It was all messed up, so we had to redo here.
Why is that even a thing?
Let's go look back. I said something about my dentist appointment got rescheduled. John Mulaney compares changing plans to heroin.
Yep.
I've never done heroin,
right.
but
we all know the sensation of canceling something that
I feel pretty happy. I didn't want to go to the dentist tomorrow, and it got rescheduled, which then brought me to, I think that's the same time we're going on this trip.
Yes.
And that segued into that.
And then
it's the Monday after, but whatever.
Yeah. So we are planning a trip for the entire team, for the Unbox Media team to get together in Florida, and super stoked about it. We're gonna actually get to meet everyone. Michael
face to face.
Michael Perigo's been a staff writer for a while now, since October or September 28th. We actually hired him on my birthday.
September 28th. That's right.
September 28th of 2020, and we've yet to actually meet him in person. So we're gonna do that, and hang out around a resort and kind of get to know each other a little bit. It's going to be awesome. But as part of that, we'll definitely be doing some behind the scenes stuff and posting that over on Patreon. So
we also said that Andrew's going to have to work.
It's all
the entire time. He's not going to sleep. He doesn't have a bed.
He's going to cover you in GoPros and let you walk around.
You're going to have a GoPro on your chest, up here, front and back.
What was that?
I want a rear view shot.
Each hand also.
Was that CES, the guy with the helmet?
Oh man, there's so many weird things.
The GoPro on top of it. I mean, which doesn't really look that out of the normal at CES. But he was a relatively short fellow, so I guess he had his camera up here so he could just kind of get everything.
You see so many weird things at CES.
Yeah.
So
well, it's CES and Vegas, so the combination.
You're getting both.
It's overload.
But yeah, we're definitely going to be posting some fun behind the scenes stuff there, and that's what we post over on Patreon, so you definitely need to go check it out. Yep. And then we were talking about my schematic here.
At first I was making fun of it, and then I'm like,
I want Andy Cam to zoom in on it and post. And
relatively close.
It was pretty close
to the operation.
I drew it as we were doing one of the skits. I had it on the table, and so I think that's why. And I just did like a quick sketch, so in case you saw it, you could see. But we're working on a really fun project right now. It's a really fun project, and it's something a little different for us.
Fun and totally unnecessary.
100%.
Which made it even more fun.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, it's just and it's us just branching out a little bit, and thanks to Andy Cam, I got to give him some praise since I forgot about him.
Thanks.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to give you
You're
praise
doing good work,
you deserve
brother.
Praise. How about that?
You're doing good work.
You're doing great work. I remembered you the whole time. So.
If you had to rank if you had to rank the hierarchy of business owners, where would we be right now?
He knows where you'd be.
So we're in the Acer Spin 714.
It's just moving right on.
It's like asking the kid who the favorite parent is.
Yeah.
My son will not.
Just remember, it takes two of us to get rid of you. Okay? Robbie and I think you're awesome.
Yeah. But we're working on a fun project that's going to get posted on Patreon very soon. So it's coming together nicely. So stay tuned for that. Definitely go check it out. Patreon.com/Chrome Unboxed.
Did you put these in the fridge?
I did,
earlier, yes.
Like right before.
This was all I needed. I feel like a new human.
He's back.
How weird is that?
He's back. He just needed a good old fashioned Big Red.
Some bubbly.
There we go.
Just need a good old fashioned Big Red.
Big Red is always the answer.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, you guys haven't got any of those new Mountain Dews in yet.
Oh yeah. What are those Mountain Dew hard zero sugar?
Zero,
Mountain Dew Zero
Baja
Hard.
Blast.
I don't know. Yeah, Baja Blast, cherry, and
You better believe.
watermelon.
Just
And
kidding.
Better
I would
believe when we're in
never in
Florida,
my
we're getting-
life drink one of those.
When we're in Florida, we're
there's
getting
a
one.
Publix right there, so I'm sure they have.
We're getting.
Were
them.
they in Florida?
Yes.
Florida, Tennessee.
It'd be fun on the golf
Some
course.
other random place.
Yeah.
But there's zero sugar, which
Rhode Island.
we're all pretty low sugar guys. So
Yeah, can't handle all the sugar and soda pops.
yeah, and it's just cool that they're bringing the zero sugar to the hard line
Hard
of it.
Mountain Dew.
Hard Mountain Dew.
Wow.
Never had
yeah.
one, so we'll see.
I have not.
I don't like most flavored Mountain Dews anyway, so
They have the regular. They have standard
Nice.
hard Mountain Dew Zero.
I don't drink alcohol, so that's gonna be a problem there. But I'll
just
just,
have Mountain
I'll
Dew
just stick
Zero.
with Mountain Dew Zero.
Yeah,
We do have those.
We'll get those too. Okay, let's dig into some hardware.
There you go. There's your banter.
Andy,
You wanted some banter.
That's right. Andy Cam brought it up. Let's talk the Acer Spin 714. So we did a video of this device. Or the folks at Acer were kind enough to send one over for us. And this is kind of a style of video that we might do if we were at the event. It's a hands-on impression style video. Hopefully, maybe we'll get to go to some events before
hope
too
so.
long. But
I don't know why, but the one that sticks out in my head the most, the one at the Lincoln Center was cool. But the Navy
Yeah.
Yard, when we were up on that,
So cool.
it's not really a balcony. It's more of a. We were up on that
Yeah.
upper level, and Joe was shooting shots of it on the finished concrete floor, and I don't know, it was just cool.
Yeah. The
Looking
Chromebooks
down
there
and
were
seeing
boring.
the CEO
Yeah.
of Acer just walking through the crowd with his suitcase because he's leaving. I'm like, that's
He's
weird.
like, I delivered the keynote. And
I'm
leaving.
out.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those too, and hopefully, with Google not having full attendance at I/O, but it looked like half maybe, or maybe a third regular attendance. Maybe that starts to open the door up because I don't feel like anybody was like outraged or upset, and we haven't had a huge COVID outbreak or anything. No, like there's been no negative.
Yeah, and it
press
wasn't
around
like
it.
mandatory masks. You saw a few people in the crowd with masks on, but
Yeah,
was.
but they
I
weren't.
mean, down front, it was shoulder to shoulder. I mean, there was quite a few people there. So
Yeah.
So it's like hopefully that
Outdoor venue, which is nice.
then maybe that is part of what helps that. But hopefully that means slowly but surely these companies are coming around to the idea of like, okay, maybe we can have these in-person events again.
Right.
But for us, for this, it was cool that Acer sent over the 714, and we had the option of it or the 514 that they debuted in that the AMD announcement that happened. So there was the HP Chromebook and then Acer's Chromebook that have the new AMD Ryzen 5000. But as our Acer rep pointed out, kind of already had hands-on with one of those chips, so maybe you'd be interested in the Alder Lake chip instead. And I was like, you are
Yes.
correct.
yeah, and
Yes, we
no knock
did
against
have-
the Ryzen. It's going to be a formidable chip, but we
Yeah.
wanted the latest and the greatest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is going to be a wildly popular device.
It is. I mean, you're talking like a successor basically to the 713. And I'm not saying that they won't make a 713. They could, but it would be weird
it
next
feels
to
like
this.
the shift is going to this screen ratio. It
Yeah,
really
because
does.
the
like
new
it.
Flex is that same thing. It's
Yeah,
a
I like it.
14-inch. Yeah, Flex is a 14-inch, 16 by 10. Usually what that means is a bunch of those panels probably are around for manufacturing, and they're like, cool, this works, so let's build the chassis of the device around that panel instead.
Because this was kind of standard at one point in the time, wasn't it? It was
16 by
back
10
in the day, or
the only devices I know that use 16 by 10 were Macs.
Okay.
It was either
Gotcha.
16 by 9, and then there were a handful of 3 by 2s. 4 by 3 was the old
yeah,
standard,
there we go. There we go.
which is even more square. 4 by 3 is getting real close to square. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good mix. Like a 14-inch 16 by 9 Chromebook still feels pretty decent. Like it doesn't feel like it's super cramped, but just there's something about adding that by 10, that slight bit of height to the screen really does make it feel better. It feels better as in tablet mode. It's just a good overall size and aspect ratio. And I think, some people have already commented on it. Like I love 16 by 10 because 3 by 2 feels a little too tall for a
Yeah.
laptop.
Yeah.
And and I get that. Like 3x2 is great for tablets, and it's good. I like it for laptops. I do. But I feel like I get the same benefit from a 16x10, and once you move it out to a 14-inch device, 16x10, it's a large amount of real estate you have to work with, and all the normal Acer stuff's here. I mean, when you look at this device and pick it up and feel it, it's like, yeah. I mean, the 514 or 7? It was 514 from last year. That was an AMD device. I liked it. Like that Spin 514. I remember liking the build quality. It felt a little bit more sturdy than the 713 ever did. And then the last year's 713 that came out, I was like, okay, they're moving more in that direction. It's a little more firm, less kind of clacky and Frankenstein feeling. And this goes another step past that. Like it's all metal on the top. The base is metal. The keyboard area is the same plastic they've been using, but the whole thing is really, really rigid and firm, and it feels quality. It's got a one-finger lift, even with the 360 hinge. It's got a full HD camera, which is kind of now the trend, thank God. They're moving away from 720.
Standard fare for the key. I know this is pre-production, but think it's better than the 713, or is it about the same keyboard frame? Again, these are pre-production, so we don't know. Tough, it might come out and be different. But
I think it's a little better than the 713. Now has always felt like a little bit loose.
Little
like
clacky.
The keys kind of wobble around a little bit too much. It's the Acer, the MediaTek one that we have that I'm like, I don't love this keyboard, but it's good. It feels like that keyframe. The trackpad.
I like what Lenovo's doing. I wish they'd do that on their Flex, because the Flex doesn't have the smile keys, does it?
No.
I don't think it does.
Maybe the new one does. I think
so the new C14 does, but I'm like, I love those keys. I wish they'd do that on all their devices.
Smile keys?
So they're concave, but then they're kind of U-shaped at the bottom, too. So they just kind of cradle your fingers when you turn.
Little finger cradle.
Yeah, they hold the thunder paws.
Yeah,
hold them in check.
For thunder paws over here, he
hold
needs
them in check.
He needs.
I gotta have some. It's like Dr. Scholl's for my fingers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, the ThinkPad's keyboards are always excellent. So it's not gonna like win any awards for the best keyboard, but it doesn't feel like a detractor. It's backlit. The speakers are up top now, so above the keyboard, and those are usually one of the last things that get tuned on a Chromebook before it ships out, and these already sound really good. So they're probably only going to get a little bit better. They're a little mid-heavy, which if you're going to air on a Chromebook on your speakers, that's where you want to air, because that's where spoken word comes out. So you want it to be good for phone calls and stuff. But so 1080p cam up top with a privacy shade, upward firing speakers that sound really nice, good backlit keyboard. Nice, smooth, clicky glass trackpad. It's just a little small because now you're going from 3x2 to 16x10. You're cramming the speakers up top as well, so you just keep running out of vertical space. And so it's not small. It's not like it's a baby little trackpad, but compared to
gotten really
ones,
used to Acer's trackpads
they've
being
been huge, like these big squares. And it's not that large, but in the time I was using it, it wasn't so small that it bothered me. There have been some before that they got too tiny. Port selection's good. USB-C on each side. USB-A headphones.
Are they going to give
full-size HDMI
a fingerprint option at all? No. And I'm not complaining. I used to dig on them for that because I really felt like, well, premium devices should just have that. But the more and more I listen to readers and people that talk, I love having it on the CX9. But until until 2FA becomes a little bit more standard and all that stuff, I don't think it's a selling point. I'd rather
only to unlock your Chromebook. Like that's the only thing.
I'd rather see them. Yeah, because I mean, I have a 2FA key in my laptop bag. But if you could use it for 2FA and stuff like that, then totally. But just for unlocking your Chromebook, I would rather them trim $50 or $80 off the price and not put it on there.
Especially like with pins, you can make your pin something quick. Like I've got mine down and. Apparently, it's pretty good because it's the same one I use on the golf simulator, and these guys, even though I've told them multiple times, can't remember it. So
I got it now.
It's trickier than I thought.
I
thought
got
it was too
because
simple,
he's like, well, a horn player, and I'm like, I didn't do that. I hold sticks.
If I showed Andrew, Andrew played trumpet.
I finally got it. I got it.
You
now,
did play trumpet at some point, didn't you? Or
tuba.
Oh, you were a tuba player. So yeah, but you played valve instruments. Like if I showed it to you, you'd be like, oh yeah. That's all. It feels like a pattern.
I could not get it to say there were days he'd come into work, he had something going on, he wouldn't come until like 9 o'clock, and I'm just sitting here like, so we can't get it on. I can't turn the computer
Game's over here just sitting on the
laid
mat.
at the floor with my 9-iron just
Yeah.
crying.
He's
But
rolling,
now
he's just grabbing the ball, throwing it up into the screen, letting it roll back.
but then once it clicked, it's like now I can do it without even thinking about it. You know?
And so I use it on my Chromebooks too. So I mean, I can log into my Chromebook just as quick with that pen as I can with a fingerprint scanner.
Sure.
And with the updates they're making to the fast unlock with your phone, like they're doing a bunch of stuff to mitigate the need for a fingerprint scanner. And I agree, until they let you use it for more stuff on the Chromebook than just unlocking your Chromebook, it's not a necessity.
It's a nicety.
I guess
but
I could
definitely
use
not.
a pen. I don't really use a pen on my Chromebook, but
my password's long. So
well,
it's
that's
like,
the thing, and they always tell you, for a secure password, don't do anything that's like a smooth fluid flow, And my password, I changed it. It's probably been 2 years ago since I changed it, and it's still very awkward for me to write because of where the letters are. So I like having the fingerprints.
Yeah. That's the pen does fix that if you do something that's pattern driven versus a particular number, because if you have a number pad on there, a lot of times you can probably do that quickly. But anyway,
I haven't even checked. Can you enable the number pad without unlocking it? I'm not sure if you can or not on the CX9 because it's on the trackpad. You should be able to. I've never tried because I don't really use a number pad.
It's a gimmick.
What do you mean?
fun.
You don't want to use a weird number pad that's on your
On the
trackpad?
trackpad?
If I used number pads, I would, but I don't.
Maybe
I don't compute things a lot like that.
there's some executives out there that use the number pad all the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
I bet, but
Maybe
well,
stoked.
Well, wouldn't like that.
You know what would be awesome is if you had that type like the CX9 has, but the haptics of the
HP.
Dragonfly, because I can use a calculator. I've worked in the restaurant business for years. I can do it with my eyes closed, whatever, because you have the center key just like you do on a keyboard. But without the haptics or any type of
There's
feedback,
just a flat surface.
it's like you're doing this.
Just guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to look down and find the numbers anyway. It's like you might as well just.
Even Gabe tapping on the desk is loud. Do your fingertips hurt often?
No.
Really?
No. I used to. I lived in a monastery for about 4 years.
Right.
And we did the.
Right. Right.
stone
Just trained,
fingers.
Walk around like this.
just trained your fingers all day.
Yeah. No.
I didn't know
hands.
that about you.
That's because it's not true.
Come on,
'Cause
man.
it's
You
a
got to go with it
lie.
a little longer.
I've been to a monastery, the one over in Gethsemane.
Gethsemane?
Yeah. Great cheese.
Great
Awesome
cheese.
cheese.
There's some distilleries opening up down around there now.
I'm sure.
Monks Road.
I'm
is
sure
from
the
down
monks
there.
will be
All
happy
about it.
about it.
Log Still is the distillery. Monks Road is the brand that they've created. It's pretty dope.
So
Anywho,
I have stayed at
hardware.
Wait, one more thing. I have stayed at the Abbey where you're not allowed to speak, which is pretty cool.
That would,
So
Did you not speak?
I did not.
Yeah.
It's very peaceful.
I did a vow of silence one time.
Really?
Yeah, it was strange.
That's why you were sleeping?
No, I don't know. In high school, when you're in high school
Really?
and you're just like doing weird stuff for attention or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't know because I
okay.
was weird in high school. I was one of those kids, just doing weird
Yeah, I used to
weird
be-
stuff.
Yeah,
Bleep it out.
I used to.
Weird.
I used to like. I always needed to be engaged in conversation on a daily basis. But I'm a point in my life, the age I am now, especially having 2 younger children, I am perfectly content. Just sitting on the couch,
dude, I
not saying a
Could
word.
sit in silence for
I
a little
lasted
while.
like not even 2 days. I don't remember. It was not good.
Yeah, I could.
At that point, I shouldn't have even done it. But
Yeah. Too many things to say.
yeah. Anywho, moving
so-
on. Hardware.
Speaking of, the last thing to say about it, we didn't even notice it when we first got it in. It's got a removable stylus too.
Yeah.
So recharging USI stylus. The nub on it it's got a great grip. Like it grips the screen and I mean, I'm not. This is no benchmarks or anything like that. But we use Cursive, Canvas, and Squid, and I'm like, not gonna lie, it's one of the better handwriting experiences I've had on a Chromebook. I mean, it's really good. So I don't know if that's the digitizer on the screen
Right.
or the
Is that
stylus or-
that's not a jaw drop like HBO?
No, they're
it's
just- I
like
don't
a
know
little
what that
insert.
is.
It's probably just an insert it's probably easier for them to cut out the insert and then put it back than it is to try to maneuver the
I
USB.
guess.
I
could
could
look
see
on the
it,
other side, see if one's
I
over
could
there
see
too.
it protecting.
That is strange.
The
I hadn't
USB-C.
noticed that.
Because HP does on their USBAs, they do that little jaw drop, and I'm like, that is just something to break.
Well, that's
all that
it's
is.
on the C1030 I've got on my desk all the time. So when I want to plug it in, I've got to pick the Chromebook up.
Yeah, and
pull
then you
the
got
thing
to wedge
open.
it in there.
It's
Yeah.
like, take this off of here. What USB is very robust. Like,
I mean, at this point, you might as well just snap it off. I mean,
oh my gosh,
the thing ain't going back.
Rip it off.
Just mail that back to.
Yeah, they asked for it back. We just sent them that piece. This is all that's left.
That's all we got.
Sorry. This is all we have left.
We ran over the rest of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they also today at that event unveiled a tablet.
Right.
And Gabe wrote that up, so I'm gonna let him talk about it because I don't really know anything.
Yeah,
about it.
and it's I don't want to say it's a disappointment because it's not. It's just when we first got the press release stuff, scrolling through and saw it, was like, oh my gosh, they did a tablet, and got super excited because we have the Lenovo Duet 5 and we have the HP X2. Asus has a newer MediaTek one out. So we knew more tablets were coming, but this is the Gen 2 Snapdragon, like the Duet 5 has, which is awesome news for people that want the better chip in a smaller device, because the HP's 11 inch, the Duet's 13.3. This is 10.1.
The Duet 3 will undo.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to fix all that. So, but it's 10.1 inches, which is what kind of your standard tablet is. It's what the original Duet was. But when I first opened up the photos in the press release, I'm like, man, this thing looks like the old school Tab 10. It's got the ribbed back on the side.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah. It looks like, if you ever saw the Asus, I don't remember what it was called. Asus had one. They were identical other than the logo. So you had Asus, CTL, and Acer all had the rock chip powered
$33.99.
Oh,
baby.
man, it was horrible.
It was slow.
We tried to root for it, but it was so bad. And Acer hasn't done a tablet since then. So when they brought this out, I was pretty excited. It has kind of a unique folio case that it kind of slides down into, but it kind of robots into different ways you can do display mode and everything.
I do like the way that just the top half of the case just folds backwards on itself to create the tent part,
which is awesome. But
that's
then
smart.
So it has halfway down, it has like little sleeves for it to slide into, so you don't have to worry about it popping off of the folio accidentally if you bump it or anything like that. But it's pretty standard fare as far as it's 10.1, 1920 by 1200.
Yeah, it's a 16 by 10. So that's
don't know the
old
nits,
school.
but I'm assuming it's going to be 300. I hope it's 400 like the Duet.
I would hope so.
Don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me if they didn't snag the same panel as the original Duet. And stuff in there.
So, a little disappointing. The Folio keyboard does not come with it. It is optional, and this is not a device that's going to be geared toward. I'm not saying you won't be able to get it at Best Buy, but this is geared directly towards schools and enterprises.
Oh, it looks like it's made to be thrown off a
building.
building.
It is. Yeah. It's mil-spec rated. It's rugged, but it
got
does.
Huge bumpers. We were like, is that a case? Like,
yeah,
nope,
it looks like it has it looks like it has a life-proof case on it, but it has. No. It does have a garage stylus, which is a huge plus. The X2 comes with the stylus, but it's the magnetic wireless charging, which is really cool. But it's really nice to just have something that gets out of the way. I would, if I used a stylus, I'd rather have one that
Oh, me, 100%. Just because where it is, where to find it.
Yeah,
you
can always have a nicer one in your bag. Have your pen oval in your bag or whatever, and you grab that when you need it. But
but if you're like, oh man, I forgot my, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just take notes or whatever. So, but other than that, I could only see one USB-C port. It does have front-facing speakers on the rear, which is cool. So right below in the bezels, the bezels aren't like out of control. They do look a little chunky, but they're not. It's not like, oh man, this looks like a 2018 Amazon Fire tablet. It's not like that. But the cool thing is it is the Snapdragon Gen 2. And the price is going to be $399. That's with the stylus, but without the case. So it's not a horrible price, but it's going to need to go on sale for me to ever really recommend.
What's the RAM storage? They said
that's the problem. Up to 4 gigs, up to 64 gigs. Yikes. So it's going to be a 464 device. And as I put in my article, and as we've always said, high-end devices you expect 8 gigs of RAM or more. These lower mid-range devices, they really need 8 gigs of RAM to perform well, to be able to pick it up and go, yeah, this thing's pretty snappy. That's why the Duet 5 is so awesome. I mean, it's got the RAM.
It's a 4 gig though, I'm pretty sure.
Not the Best Buy one. It's
128?
Yeah. And then the X2 has 8 gigs as well, but it needs that 8 gigs. And the storage, which I get for schools, they don't care. They use flash drives and all that stuff, but I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But I really see this being marketed not just to schools, but probably more so enterprise, because they do have an LTE option. So if they make like a life-proof style case or something like that you can clasp around it, this will be the perfect device for guys in their truck to throw on their dashboard, and they use it, completing orders. Stanley Steamer was out at my house last week, and before they even walked out of the house, I got an email saying that they completed the job, and the invoice was in my email. And I'm like, it's stuff like that where those devices are
Right.
really
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
shine.
for sure.
We had
Takes a beating.
Yeah, we had iPads at the car lot when I worked there, and it was, you could be out on the lot and you didn't have to, drag people into your office and do all this stuff. So that's where this thing's going to be aimed at. But if it's that rugged and it goes on sale for $299, it'd be a great device for a kid.
Sure.
Yeah, have it around the house.
Does Acer make any other Windows or any other tablets?
They make like one
Android
line.
tablets?
They had for a long time they had the Iconic line, but they don't make was it Iconic or Ionic? Iconic.
I don't know.
And
I remember it was
Look
an
up,
I something.
look up Acer Iconic tablet.
I think it's Ionic.
Might be
Ionic.
ironic.
Ironic.
Iconia.
There you go. Iconia. There you go.
So
What a weird name.
That's why nobody
We
can
were
remember
all
it.
wrong. So, but I don't know that they've made. They have like those weird transformer like kickstand PC things that are kind of tablet-y,
Yeah.
but I don't think they make.
Yeah.
They just haven't made a ton, and that's when we've seen tablet stuff, it's just like it's probably not going to be Acer because they just don't do this very often.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised that they went as rugged as they did. Like, I get that you want to make it a little bit more of a rugged device, but why not?
Why not do both?
Why not? Yeah.
Or why not just have a case made for it?
Or just,
Lenovo did the Duet, and then they did the 10e. Just do two different devices, or get with a company and make a snap-on case for it.
Yeah, that's life proof.
Hey, we sell a rugged case if you want for in the field, or if you want this for whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
you
like
can
the
buy this case.
X2 got down to like $250 last week, and then there was a $100 coupon from Snapdragon Insiders. Like $150 for that tablet is totally worth it.
Yeah.
But I would never hand that to my son, not without some kind of case on it.
Right.
Sure.
Because he's my son.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do wish they just made a consumer-facing version. Because like more tablets, the better.
And $399 without the
but
folio.
that's weird though, is that it does
it's real steep.
It's real steep,
It
especially
does
if it's a
say
460.
it does say ChromeOS Tab 510 or Chromebook Tab 510, and then Chromebook Enterprise Tab 510. So it's going to be available through some retail channel.
Yeah.
But it's going to look like that. You're going to get what you get.
Let's get one in. We'll test it out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give it a ride, but
definitely.
I have a hard time seeing in a consumer channel how that would compete with the Duet 3.
I mean, if you're going to keep doing this, if you're going to keep doing this,
good.
give me upgradable RAM. Let me upgrade my RAM.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
No. Yeah. Not.
I actually saw somebody upgrade. A video guy did do an upgrade eMMC storage and soldered RAM on a Chromebook.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I mean, they always say, well, it's not upgradable. It is if you know how to do it.
If you can unsolder and
I don't
resolder.
recommend doing that. So.
Let's get a soldering
Soldering
machine
kit
in here, soldering kit in here.
and learn how to unsolder
one in there.
also.
All right, well there we go.
There you go.
Let's
There you
get
go.
let's get to
Go
work.
buy one and just see what happens.
Let's
If you ruin
pop
it, you
one
ruin it.
open. It'll be one of those kind of like when we tried to do
Flex.
installing Flex.
Well, if it didn't work, just scrap it.
Yeah, well, here's the video, folks. We tried and we failed.
But that's why we do.
Doesn't
these things.
work, but hey, you got to try. Okay, last device we have the Lenovo ThinkPad C14.
Yeah, there you go.
I was like, I looked down and I saw 714, and then I skipped over that one.
Too many 14s.
So the more I think about it, interesting that they did not do a convertible. And I think it was The Verge, or it was a big outlet that said, Lenovo unveils the successor to our favorite. Yeah, and I'm like,
no, it's not.
no one liked the C13.
Well, and it's not really a successor. It's just a different device.
Yeah, but it's just another device in the C13. It's not even a Yoga, but and Robbie and I were talking about this earlier today. The C13 Yoga was an amazing piece of hardware. It just had the wrong chip in it.
Yep.
I mean, it's probably one of the most well-built Chromebooks I've ever used.
Not to keep dogging on AMD, but the last gen AMD processors, I mean, they were problematic for a lot of reasons, and that 40% drop off the charger is no bueno, and especially for a chip that wasn't like super crazy fast to begin with. It was medium fast, and then it went to like slow whenever it was off the charge. And
yeah, because we were expecting like Intel Core stuff. The last generation, they're Pentium Silver at best. Most of them, they're in that vein. They're in that Walmart, $300 vein, and you got the C13 Yoga that sells for like $1,500.
Yeah. I mean, but it had also, like, all the exterior features were really good. Like, it was one of those Chromebooks I got, and I'm like, the whole ThinkPad vibe is just not my thing.
Yeah, I don't like
but the more I used it, I was like, man, this keyboard's really nice. Oh, man, this trackpad's really nice. And oh, man, this screen's pretty good. And oh, man, like, the build quality feels great. And it just was one of those devices, when I get done with something else, I'd go grab it and use it until I started realizing, like, the problems I was having not being plugged in were ongoing. It wasn't just flukes. But the C14 fixes all of that stuff as long as you're not looking for a convertible and you're not looking for one with a stowed stylus, right? Because it had a stowed stylus before the C13. But the C14 carries that ThinkPad look and feel. I mean, if you've seen one, you know what it looks like. Like, it's not
center nub.
Yeah, there's nothing new.
It's got the nub and the third mouse key,
and the 3 mouse keys above the trackpad because they go with the nub.
It is amazing. Like my laptop, I still have it somewhere. I had a Lenovo ThinkPad at the car dealership, and when I worked, I got it in 20. Oh gosh, when did I leave there? 2012. So I got it in 2008, and it was already old then. But other than it being like super thick, it looks just like this. Yeah. I mean, good on them for staying true to the
brand. Like, this is our brand.
Yeah, like Robbie said, you can see a ThinkPad a mile away, and you know it's a ThinkPad. The little red ring around everything, and the nub, and
there's nothing about
it. 16 by 10?
No.
Okay.
Is it ThinkPad that the dot on the eye lights
red.
up?
Yeah. I mean, it's like little stuff that's like, okay, it's kind of cool. But it's going to be built really well. It's got a full HD webcam on it. I don't think we pull that up and look for me, Andrew, on the C14. I'm pretty sure it's just a standard 14-inch, almost positive. It's going to have the Alder Lake chips in it, and NVMe storage, and up to 16 gigs of RAM, blah blah blah, all the same stuff. Fingerprint scanner built into the power button, though. I like
Which
that.
Is
I like that a lot. Yeah,
and the grouping of the function keys at the top is
and the speakers
so
are
cool.
up top too.
Yep.
So hopefully they're a little better. The C13 speakers were absolute hot trash. They were really
assistant
bad.
key, which is
so it's got an assistant key on
when
the keyboard.
When was the last time? Do we have any other non-Google devices that have an assistant key?
If you take out the Logitech keyboard,
there's not a Chromebook, is there? That's very unusual.
So I mean, I don't know if Google's like, hey, we're cool with anyone doing this now, and Lenovo's like, we'll do it.
Yeah, but they've got some extra functions, and then like the keyboard brightness is on the space
bar, and there's a keyboard brightness button next to the Google Assistant button, and then the groupings up top are a little bit different. It's got the manual mic switch up top. So like they took some liberties with some of the keyboard layout, which the whole Vivaldi keyboard thing in the repositories.
That's
what
the
it's
idea.
For. Yeah. It's like, hey, you want to make a unique keyboard, go for it. Like
and for an enterprise device, it's great because you have the mute to mic and all that stuff. Because we've seen HP did the mute mic switch on the camera and stuff like that.
Big rotating one. It's got the big switch.
They had one on the side.
The C1030 over there has the camera swap
on the bottom
on the side, but they said with the Dragonfly they got rid of that because people were still like, is it really off? Like with the shade, you see it. There's a physical thing covering the camera up.
And plus, when you're in a meeting, you're muting yourself way more than you're turning the camera on and off. That I mean, that's just a brilliant addition.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a 14-inch full HD IPS display, 250 or 300 nits with touch option.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a 250 nit, and part of that, like when you look at it, it's like, okay, I see what they're doing because they're going to start it at 629. So to get that kind of build quality at 629, you're gonna have to cut some corners. So 250 nit screen, my guess would be like a Pentium, probably a Pentium 464 or something like that. But the keyboard's going to be there, the fingerprint scanner's going to be there. Assuming the speakers are good, we'll be in the build quality, mil spec, all that kind of stuff. There's nothing else like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But the keys are interesting. Like the keyboard layout's super interesting.
It's just something different.
The fingerprint scanner and the little power button up top. It's
be fun to get it and try it out.
Yeah, it's unique and it'll be fast this time. Like we don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So my guess is you'll get it in and be like, there's that Lenovo thing, and then you use it for a little bit and be like, oh, those keycaps Gabe was talking about feels really nice. And man, this trackpad, so it's just built well. Yeah. It's built really well.
Be great for Steam.
Yeah, it'll be that too.
Yeah, for sure. Availability on this one? I don't know if we said availability on the Tab either.
Tab is July. Yeah, July.
This is it's June.
This
Sorry.
one's June.
Yeah, that's right. Because you said,
It's been a lot of
next
hardware.
month.
I was like,
yeah.
oh crap, next month.
Because
and
what's the
629.
714 is August, right?
Yeah.
All right, so June, July, August. There you go.
Buckle down, boys.
Yep, it's just going to accelerate from
Here's
here.
the thing: that there was a headline out I saw today, right before we started this, that the Acer, 714 could be the best Chromebook of 2022. Little hyperbolic, probably. Like let's not forget the Dragonfly that's coming out that like literally looks like the best built Chromebook we've ever seen. But if we start talking about deals and bang for your buck and that kind of stuff, I mean, yeah, the Dragonfly is not going to be cheap, and not that the 714 is going to be cheap, but
For a little bit more affordable for the average
you drop
consumer.
$200-$300 off the price, and what are you really losing with the 714? Not
Right,
that
and
much.
we do this every year when we do our best of, because you just can't take into consideration price and features. You have to take in overall value, and those things combined. So I mean, there are, I'm finishing one right now on a Chromebook that may not work for a lot of people because it's not a convertible, but it has everything, and you can get it. It's $399. It's 11th gen Core i5. I mean,
and
that's a great value. If you had your option between that or a $999 Samsung Galaxy Chromebook, I'm going to tell you to buy this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's
a no-brainer.
Different strokes for different folks. Like certain people are looking for certain things, and it's getting harder. As time goes on, and to say that anything's the best anything in 2022 is real short-sighted right now, because you can look at our tracking list. We're tracking more high-end Intel Chromebooks on the way than we've ever had any time. So we tracked 8th gen and was like, ooh, there's so many of them coming.
Yeah.
And then 10th gen came. And we're like, oh my God, there's so many of these.
What was the presser we had where they said there was a number they threw out of how many?
It was at the Chromebook session at I/O. 74 new Chromebook models this year.
74.
And we've only had. I mean, there's probably a few ED units that launched and we didn't hear about or something, but
that's nearly half.
Probably 10 or 15 so far this year.
That's like half
We're getting
the
ready
number
to get
of
crazy.
Chromebooks that are on, like from 2010 to 2020. It's more than half.
And I'm telling you, 15 of them at least will be Alder Lake Chromebooks.
Right.
And we've gotten the Dragonfly, this thing, the Flex 5i, and the C14.
Yep.
So we have 4.
And hopefully we'll have, a slew of MediaTek and
that's not to say anything about all those other ones, all these other processors and all the AMD devices and the MediaTek devices, Snapdragon devices. Like, that's all. I'm just talking about Intel based, not low end, high end, the nicer ones. Like, they're not going to put Alder Lake in Chromie devices. It's not like the small core Intel stuff has gotten good enough. If you're going to make a cheap Chromebook, that's what you put in it, or you put an ARM chip in it or something. And so, I mean, there's a bunch more. There's quite a few. I think at least 3 we're tracking. They're coming from Dell. There's multiple more HP has on offer.
I wonder. I didn't read the article. We were talking about that headline. I wonder if there was maybe some rationale or some reasoning in there for that headline, or if it was.
I read the first couple paragraphs, and I think the point that she was making in it was, it's great, and it is. Like, it's going to be up there. I even said it in my article. Like, I feel like this one has a potential to be one of the best Chromebooks. It could be in the running for it when you talk about overall value, but to put it as headlines, that's a lot.
Yeah, well.
But it's a good Chromebook. I can already tell, and this is not even a production unit.
Yeah,
so the lines will tighten up a little bit, and it'll be nicer than it is now.
We're still. So did they say August, or did they say specifically a date? Is this
just
one August?
August.
Yeah. So
just
we're
August.
still a few months out.
Yeah.
Of getting this thing
But it
out.
also means if it's August, it means Black Friday deals on it should be good.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It also
And
means there's a few
Acer
months for
normally does
lots
that.
of other people to announce lots of other stuff.
Right.
There's a bunch more Chromebooks coming, and a lot of them are going to be aimed, hey, we can sell this to consumers, but we're also, like, this year right now is the year of enterprise. Like, that's what Chromebook makers are making.
Asus Alder Lake. I totally forgot about that one.
Oh, yeah.
That was announced
that
weeks
makes it
ago.
5.
Yeah.
That was announced at CES.
Months ago.
Yeah. Remember, they were like, we're not going to talk about Chromebooks. Here's a Chromebook. And we talked to our rep, and they were like, they didn't tell us.
Yeah, we didn't know. Sorry.
They just threw it in.
Perfect.
What was that device? What's the name of that?
It's a CX5.
Oh,
it's a
that's right.
5601.
It's the other one. The other
16
model
inch,
number.
16 by 10.
Alder
It's-
Lake.
it's-
I mean, that'll
gonna
be
be a beast.
That'll be sweet.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll probably, the way Acer does, or Asus does, they'll probably come out with a 14-inch, kind of like this 5400 that came out in August last year, and they were just like,
Here you go.
Yeah.
There's this.
Here it is.
We're like, this is like one of the best Chromebooks of the year.
Right, and that's what it's.
We
gonna
updated
boil-
some stuff. Here you go.
Until we get into like dedicated GPUs and stuff like that, the internals are the internals. It's all about who's making the best,
who's putting the best,
hardware
like the looks
around and the best
screen,
aesthetic.
the keyboard. Like it's going to be the same story as it was last year. It's the experience of using the device versus who's got the best specs. All the specs are going to be the same. Like they're all going to have good screens now. Like we've harped on that enough. I feel like we played our part in that. Like we banged the drum long enough that they're like, okay, we got it. If we're going to make a nice one, we'll put a decent screen in it. Okay, cool. And so we'll just keep banging the drum on all this other stuff. And these devices are getting really good. Yeah, really, really good. So it's going to come down more to who's thought through the whole user experience.
It's that whole package thing we talked about a lot.
Who's put their thing through the paces to go, when I use this thing, that little thing scrapes my leg. Okay, well, back up. Let's redesign that. And all those little things are going to start counting a lot more, and that's why everybody wants Google to make another freaking Chromebook because they nail that stuff.
I know. Yeah, they think through all of that.
They think through those things, and so I saw an article right before we started this about that Android Central. Was it about why it's time that the Pixelbook 2 with Tensor needs to come out? Like, don't hold your breath, bud.
Yeah.
It will eventually.
And it's
just
we've if you've listened to this podcast for any time, you've probably heard us talk about this transition during the pandemic of so many people starting to use Chrome OS for the first time. And I wonder if these manufacturers are like, ooh, like now's a great time to introduce some nicer devices so that as people are they're using that cheap device that they bought during the pandemic just because they had to have something for work or for school. And now they're like, oh, wow, I actually really like Chrome OS. I can do all of my work on this. I can do all of my schoolwork on this. I want something maybe a little nicer now. Yeah. Now these manufacturers are starting to roll those out. Probably, they have so much market research.
Yeah,
like they have so much.
Because you have that and you have like the EDU effect where so many millions of workers were given a Chromebook because they're working at home. Now they've worked on it for a year and they're like, this could be my only device. I need to go buy one for myself. Yeah, my Windows laptop's getting a little old. I'm gonna buy a Chromebook because it's what I know.
The push into enterprise isn't oops, we fell into this.
Nope,
like, they targeted
calculated, very intentional.
They're absolutely targeting enterprise now. That's where, and you see it every Chromebook, every nice Chromebook that gets released. It's this Chromebook, also this Chromebook. With Chromebook Enterprise.
With Enterprise package. 714,
the C14 are the exact same. Yeah. They're both, and the tablet. I mean, everything's like, oh, it's also Enterprise. Like, we can sell it in both channels, and that's what you should be doing.
100%, Like,
take advantage of both things. Yeah. No different than if you're going to make an education Chromebook, it's harder to sell those in consumer markets because they look like toys a lot of times. This doesn't have that effect. Like, this Chromebook that's on the screen.
Dual purpose. Both channels.
Enterprise, great. Consumer, great.
And
works.
And for those listening, when someone does purchase an enterprise device or a company purchases these enterprise devices, what exactly are they getting that's different than the regular consumer?
So you're getting the ChromeOS Enterprise upgrade, which is the license required for a device to be managed by what do they call
like
it?
An IT admin.
Yeah, so it's managed through the Google Admin Console. Organizational unit is what they call it. So like we have... ChromeUnbox.com, obviously we have our own Google Workspace account and we can manage our devices if we're logged in with our email. It just gives you, each device has its own license for that. So you're not getting some like, oh, this device is chunkier or it's more, it's more rigid. It's just, it has the ability to be managed.
Edition.
Yes.
Yeah, and so a device has to basically meet certain requirements from a hardware standpoint to be able to go do that. So like for a lot of these, they're all pushing. It's got Intel vPro in it. Okay. That's just an extra layer of security
stuff. Yeah,
on a hardware level that Intel provides that Chrome OS's admin console can work with, and they can play nice together. Well, if you make this thing with a 12th gen Alder Lake processor, a Core i5 or Core i7, well, those bits are already built in there. Right. So now when you put the enterprise upgrade in, which is nothing more than a license, it plays well with that vPro to add extra security for stuff that corporations clearly don't want leaked. They need their devices to be secure, and Chrome OS. I love that HP puts this out there pretty bluntly. There's never been a reported ransomware attack with Chrome OS. Right. Never, ever, not one time ever. And so now you've got hardware that helps support some of that, but Chrome OS is really what's creating the security. But hey, the more the merrier. Like, the more secure you can make these things, like, it's easier for admins to deploy them. It's easier for them to manage them. It's easier for them to trust that, like, look, We don't have to worry about the ransomware and adware and malware. And
well,
all
now
that crap.
you still shouldn't click on all those links in your email.
You shouldn't, because you're still gonna like if you do
don't put in your credit card
your
information.
device might not get hacked. Yourself might.
Yeah.
These
still
ones
get
I've been,
fished.
Yeah, these ones I've been getting here lately. I'll just click into like my spam folder every now and then just to see what people are sending. They're like making it look like a Lowe's gift card or
I get those
whatever.
constantly.
And every now and then they'll come through and hit my promos.
I'm getting more and
tab.
more of the Google Forms, and those are scary because they come from a Google email address.
Oh, yeah.
So
people think like,
Didn't
this
we
is
write?
right.
I think
yeah,
somebody
Michael
wrote that.
wrote
Yeah, I
it
was gonna
up.
say.
I report. I cannot believe that Google hasn't done something more to crack down.
They've
on
got to.
All they have to
squash
do is
that.
remove that ability to forward the email like that. I mean, that's all it's doing.
Yeah.
They'll always figure out another way.
Yeah,
That's true.
Scammer's gonna scam.
The scammer's gonna scam. Okay, folks, I think that's it for this week. We appreciate you all tuning in and watching and listening to this episode of the Chromecast, and we will catch you all next week. See ya.